Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm super excited for tonight. We have a very special guest on who's been a longtime friend of ours for a lot of years. She's been in the business even longer than myself and Brittany. And so I'm super excited for y'all to hear her story and just share some tips and different things. So welcome, Krystal. Thank you for taking time out of your night. Y'all, she is a busy mom of four. I think your oldest two they're the twins, right? Are they the middles?
Yep.
Okay. I was like, I know that the two girls are the twins. And so I was like, I just want to make sure I have the chronological order correctly. So I'll let you go ahead and just introduce yourself and share a little bit of your story. But y'all, I just have loved her from the day that I first met her, and our husbands get along and all the things. They've done a lot of life together. And so I'm just really excited for y'all to hear from her.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for inviting me on. This is super fun. And we love you guys so much too. But my name is Krystal Pearl, and I have actually been a part of this company for almost 13 years. It'll be 13 years in July, which is so crazy to me. I feel like I've grown up in this business. I got started when I was 23 years old, and I actually was a hairstylist at the time. And I had a client who came into my salon and she gave me what's called a Blitz card. Most of you probably don't even know what that is. Erin, you probably know what it is. But it was this big, huge coupon card, like the size of my face. And it said, "Get your sexy back." And it had a before and after of this girl's tummy on it. And in the first picture, her tummy was loose and she had wrinkly skin. And in the after one, it was tightened and toned. And I remember taking that card and instantly I was like, BS. Like instantly, it was like, there is no way that this is real. If it was, I would have heard about this by now, but I was definitely intrigued because I had just had my twins. They were 6 months old at the time, and I was dealing with a lot of loose skin. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give this a try, prove that it doesn't work. And so I gave the wrap a try, and I instantly saw results in 45 minutes. And I knew I needed more than one treatment for sure, but I saw enough that I was like, wow, this actually works. And I got really excited about the product, but I couldn't afford it. I was drowning in debt. My husband and I were battling so much debt from me being on a high risk pregnancy when I was pregnant with the girls. And then he actually got laid off from his job during that time. And so we were surviving on credit cards. We had no savings to fall back on. And so even when we got back to work and we had a steady paycheck coming in, both of us, it's like we could never get ahead. That debt was always there. We were just drowning in it. And so I thought, in all honesty, I just jumped on board with this opportunity. I didn't know what network marketing was. I had no idea what a business model like this was doing for people. But I just started because I was like, I'm going to get my mom to buy some product. I'm going to get my sister-in-law to buy some product, and that's going to pay for my product. Like that is all I wanted. I just wanted to be able to use the wraps. And so that's why I joined. And I'm actually really happy about that because, in all honesty, if I knew that this was sales and like what all it entailed, I probably would have said no because I was extremely shy. I'm still an introverted person at heart. But I was super introverted. I had never done anything like this in my life. I was so busy, like all the excuses that everybody has. I had all of those. And so, I'll never forget it. I was about 2 weeks into the business, and our monthly conference was at the end of summer at that time. And I wasn't there, but I hopped on like a live stream, and there was this girl on stage telling her story, and she was so uncomfortably shy, like shaking like a leaf. She couldn't even get her words out. And she was making six figures with this opportunity. And like for me, that was the light bulb moment that I was like, oh my gosh, if this girl that can't even talk is making this much money with this opportunity, like that's me. That would be me if I was up on stage, so uncomfortable and awkward. And so it was like that person that I could relate to, that I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. So I jumped on board with, promoting the opportunity and the products, and I just ran with it. I learned how to do it. I had my upline, she had just joined like a couple weeks before me. So we really didn't know what we were doing. We were just like doing parties and expos, and social media wasn't even a thing yet. But I was just like, I'm going to figure it out because I don't want to be in debt. Like I want the lifestyle of being able to go on vacation with my family and put my girls in dance class without stressing out about it or thinking about it. And so that's what I did. And I learned, I failed a lot. I made a lot of mistakes, but I just put one foot in front of the other every single day. And because of that, I was able to step away from my career as a hairstylist. I loved it. I never thought I would walk away from it, even when I was super successful in the business. But I just got to a point where my daughters were growing so fast and I didn't want to miss any more moments with them. You guys know, if you have kids, like you blink and it's like they're teenagers all of a sudden. It's so crazy. And so I decided to go all in with this. That was about 2 years into the business. And then about another year later, my husband stepped away from his career and he was home with us while our kids were little. And then once they went back to school, he actually went back to his job, but it was because he chose to go back. And that was so cool because this business has given us so many choices and so much freedom. So in 13 years, like there's been a lot that's happened to us, but most recently over the past 3 years, which I feel like this is an important part of my story, because I feel like my why has evolved so much in the amount of time that I've been in the business. But in 2020, we had some really hard life stuff happen to us. My parents in 2020, you know, the world was shutting down, like everything was crazy. We didn't know what was going to happen. My parents wintered in South Carolina. And so when everything was getting crazy, I told them, I'm like, you guys need to come back. I want you to be close. My dad was battling lung cancer at the time. And so I was just like, if something happens like with this COVID thing, I'm like, I just want you guys to be close. I want to be able to take care of you and all that kind of stuff. Well, as they were coming home, my dad started to not feel well. And by the time he got back to Minnesota, he could barely breathe. And so he literally dropped my mom off at their house, went to the hospital, was instantly put on a ventilator. And a week later, he was dead. He passed away. And it was the hardest thing I've ever gone through in my life. We had to say goodbye to my dad over FaceTime. Nobody was allowed to be in the hospital. My mom was quarantined. We literally sat on her step and like consoled her through a screen door because we didn't know what COVID was. Like it was just, there were so many unknowns at the time. And like mentally, it affected me more than I had ever even realized until now, almost 3 years later, like realizing how much it affected me. But my passion for a business model like this is now that I was able to grieve and take a step back from my business and still make a paycheck. And like, I think about, you know, when I was in the salon, if I wasn't physically in the salon, I was not making money. If my husband wasn't physically able to go to his job, we weren't making money. And because of a business model like this, we were able to take a step back to grieve, to be able to help my mom navigate through all these tough times. And like, that is the hugest blessing that I could have ever imagined in my life. So like my passion now is just like preaching about how amazing it is to have that plan B, because you never know what life's going to throw at you. And also all of the support and love I got through that hard season was everything. So that's a long-winded version of my story.
No, but I think it paints the picture of everything that you've been through, you know, and especially, you know, because whether you're brand new in the business or you've been in 8 years, 13 years, you know, you're going to go through life. You're going to have ups and downs and peaks and valleys of different spots in your business, that not everything is going to be butterflies and rainbows. And so hearing other stories, relating and being able to know like, okay, Krystal got through it. So I know that I have the resources and the tools and I'm going to get through it too. And so I appreciate you sharing that. Okay. So now obviously, you know, I know I saw like how this all started and everything. You were blowing up in our ambassador chat and all the things like, oh, I run this and this successful, this is a different thing. So let's talk a little bit about what's working right now, because, you know, obviously 13 years in, we talked about the Blitz cards. We're aging ourselves in that aspect of like the things that we used to do. I used to walk around the mall and like drop them off places, put them in bathrooms, like those kind of things. And so what are you doing right now that you feel like is really working to help you get enrollments, but also help you as far as earning the trip to Jamaica? Because I think that's a huge thing. You know, if you guys haven't put that on your radar, now is the time to do that. Put that on your radar, make sure that you're earning that trip. But will you share a little bit of about what you're doing right now?
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like this business is always going to be a dance and you're always going to be pivoting and doing new things. So I would definitely say like in 13 years, just like Erin said, like we started with wrap parties and expos. Social media wasn't even a thing. Like if I was still only doing wrap parties and expos, I probably wouldn't be to where I am today. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Like if you're in person and you like those things, like it's super fun to get together with people. But just realistically, like that's not how I'm growing my business today. So today, honestly, it is for me, I'm a mom of 4, I'm busy, it's crazy. And so the majority of how I'm growing my business right now is host to post. You guys hear host to post all the time, but it is definitely the way that I am growing my business for sure. It's how I meet new people every single day. But also something that is working really well for our team with getting our newbies launched and getting them launched successfully with really high BV orders is we're doing a lot of messenger parties. I don't know if you guys do that to launch your newbies, but that has been a game changer for us as far as getting people launched. We had a girl 2 weeks ago that got a $600 order with a messenger party. Like she was instantly a 400 BV leg. And so that's something that we're doing, and it's worked really, really well for us. So, just always pivoting, always following the trends. Like I will tell you like I said, in the 13 years, and especially over the last 3 years, when I was going through all of my hard stuff and my hard seasons, I definitely had to get to this place where I had to pivot because I just felt like I needed to see some wins. And like for me, when Host to Post came out, I was really kind of against it. Like, I was like, it sounds confusing to me. I don't want to do it. It just didn't sound like my thing. But I kept hearing people over and over again that were like, I'm having so much success with it. I'm loving it. It's so much fun. And I finally jumped on board with it like almost a year after everybody was doing it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. And then it was the same thing with the messenger parties. One of my really good friends, Amber Canisi, she's a presidential diamond. She kept telling me, she's like, you have to do these messenger parties. And I kept telling her, I was like, I don't want to do them. Like, I hate chats. I hate group chats. They stress me out. I do not like them. So the idea of like doing a party in a group chat, I was like, this is overwhelming. Like if I was invited to this messenger party, I would be like, puke. I do not want to be a part of it. But she just kept saying, Krystal, it works. Krystal, it works. So I was just like, okay, whatever. You're saying it works. I'm going to do one. I'm going to try it. And it was amazing. Like people loved it. People jumped on board. My newbies are all getting their 4-in-1s completed pretty much from the messenger party. So that's really what we're focusing on right now. And then also just really simplifying everything, for us. That was something that we really jumped on board with this year is, at conference, John kept saying simple is significant. And I was like, oh, I love that so much because when I started this business, there was no training. It was basically like, figure out how to do it. There was no Zoom. It was freeconferencecall.com. Or in-person meetings that I had to drive 2 hours because I live in the middle of nowhere to be a part of once a month. And that was our training. And nowadays it's like, there's so much training. There's so many resources. Like if somebody's like, I can't be successful in this business, I'm like, bull crap, because you can learn how to be successful in anything in the world we live in. Like YouTube, everything is out there that teach you how to do it. You just have to learn the skills. But I also feel like on the flip side of that, sometimes there's so much information. There's so many Zooms. There's so many people doing it different ways that you can almost get confused. And we all know that a confused mind says no, right? Like we hear that all the time. And so we've really tried to simplify things. So for like onboarding our new distributors and getting people started, all we teach them is how to get 4 loyal customers and a distributor. And until they get that done, we don't even talk about anything else. I mean, in all honesty, like I don't even really promote our team Zooms that much until we're at the point where you are getting 4 customers and a distributor, because that is literally all I want you to focus on in your first 30 days. And we're just having a lot of success with that.
I absolutely love it. Okay, so let's talk about messenger parties just a little bit because nobody, like the people that we've interviewed and stuff like that, nobody's touched on this. So I love it. So how, like for newbies, different things, like how many people do you suggest that they invite? Are you talking about like a few hot products? Because I know we've done some like different events and stuff like that over the years and hosted little parties, dabbled in a few messenger parties, and then kind of like fell off the game. But this is the second time today. So I was like, okay, God, I hear you. Like I'm supposed to hear about messenger parties today. I get it. So talk a little bit about just like the structure of, who are you inviting? What kinds of things are you talking about? Because there are, quite a few newbies on here, but then there are some people that have been in for a minute too.
Yeah, for sure. So we keep it really simple. Everything we do is on our boards. And Erin, I can totally share our boards with you if you want. But everything's on there ready to go. So basically what we're doing for our new distributors is as soon as they get on board, like I'm trying to do their messenger party within their first 2 to 3 days in the business. And the reason is because I feel like if you can help a new distributor see a win right out of the gates, the chances of them sticking with this are going to be so much higher. A statistic I heard early on in the business is that the average person will never make over $500 in a business model like this. And so if we can teach them even how to earn $1, the chances of them sticking with this are so much greater. And so that's my goal, is within their first week, I'm getting at least their first customer on board on their team. So with the messenger party, we're basically doing their intro to business post. So it's like their curiosity post, which just says something like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I just got started in something new. Who wants to know what I'm up to? You guys know, like it can be whatever. So they do that. And then after that, they do their intro to business post, and then we're getting ready for their messenger party. So anybody who has commented on their curiosity post, anybody who commented on their intro to business post, and then anybody who's on their dirt list. So we call it the dirt list. Some people will call it the chicken noodle soup list. I'm sure you guys know what that is, but it's if you were literally selling dirt, like who would support you? Your mom, your sister, your friends, cousins, whatever. So these are the people that we're inviting to their messenger party. We have a script ready to go for them. So they're basically just saying like, hey, I just got started in this venture. I'm super excited. I need to get trained in. I'm going to be shadowing my mentor, Krystal. Would you be willing to hop on, maybe ask some questions so I can just learn how to talk to people about these products? So that's all they're saying. And then I'm basically going in. Once we set up the party the morning of the day that we're actually launching them. And then I go in and I do a voice message and I just share with them a little bit about my excitement. I always say, thank you so much for being here and supporting the host. Getting started in a new venture can be very exciting, but it can also be very nerve-wracking. So your guys' support means the world to them, just to kind of soften the vibe, and let them know that we appreciate them so much. I share about my weight loss journey. I show one of my personal before and after pictures, and that's it. And then midday we do, I have anybody who's invited to the party do a host to post for an additional entry. Our additional entry is just our host to post giveaway. Like I'm sure you guys do a host to post giveaway. So I'm teaching my newbies how to do host to post right out of the gate. So it all this all ties in together with the messenger party. So it's so awesome. And then the night of the party, it's just scripts, and it's basically talking about our top selling products. I do ask everybody that's invited to the party before I get started what they're interested in. So like, for example, if I have nobody that says they're interested in skincare, like I'm probably not going to talk about the skincare. So I just kind of gauge like where people are at and what they're interested in. And then I go based off of that. But it's basically going to be our top selling products, Slimming Trio, Slimming System, the coffee, of course, Skinny Hydrate, our top selling things. And then we end with talking about the opportunity. And so that's kind of the basics of it. And then the way we kind of spin this, and it's been working really, really well, is we kind of say like, because you guys are here tonight, we want to offer you an opportunity to get our wholesale discount. And then we talk to them about the perks membership. And then we talk about how you're also going to get a free $20 gift for ordering and helping support her, which is the frother. But we make those things seem like it's because you're here, like this is a special perk to you for supporting her as she's getting started. And it's worked really, really well. And then at the end of the party, we do a giveaway for anybody that was on the party asking questions, interacting on the questions. And it's typically just, I'll send them a sample of Skinny Brew or Skinny Hydrate or whatever it may be. So something super, super simple. And I always do that the following day, about 24 hours after the party, because I always tell them anybody who orders tonight will get extra entries into our free product giveaway. And so that just kind of gives them a little people want free stuff. So we want them to order ASAP. And then the big key here is follow-up. So anybody who is invited to the party, I'm giving my distributor a follow-up script to send to anybody who interacted right after the party. And then I have another script for anybody who didn't get on and interact. And so it just works with them getting in people's messages, getting in people's inboxes and talking about the products. And it works so, so well.
That was awesome. I mean, I just love that spin because I actually listened to a training. We were talking about message and parties while we were doing a power hour today. And so I was hearing all the things, and then she had a little bit different spin, but I love that idea of, gauging their interest, not just going with the same products, because you really have to cater to your market. So that was something really cool. So I absolutely love that. Now let's talk a little bit about, because obviously you've been in for a while, and maybe there's somebody here that is working towards a goal. Maybe they haven't hit a goal yet. And so maybe, we're at the middle of the month. So I think always the middle of the month is the hardest, because it's like you're so hyped at the beginning and then you get really hyped again at the end when you're pushing for those goals. But what would be your piece of advice for that person that maybe they've been pushing for the goal, but maybe, their thoughts and mindset is kind of getting in the way, and they're thinking like, okay, I don't know if I got this. I think I might be getting too far away. Like, what would be your piece of advice to them?
So my biggest tip with goal setting, and I can relate to all this. Like I've been there. I actually have had kind of a slow month this month, to be completely honest. Easter and just some kid things and just all the things going on. And so I was one of those people, and I am an end of the month girl. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like the 15th of the month gets here and I'm like, oh, I love the end of the month pressure. I don't know. I've always been that way. So some of you can probably relate to that. But the biggest piece of advice I can give you is you just have to take your goals and you have to chunk it down. I talk about this all the time with our team, that you might have these big goals of like going diamond or going ruby by the end of the month. Maybe you're newer and you're like, I want to go ruby. I want to get that ruby bonus by the end of the month. But you feel like, okay, it's the 15th of the month, 16th of the month, and I haven't done anything yet. Well, what is the first step to getting to that goal? The first step of getting to that goal of ruby is getting a distributor on your team. So instead of thinking of like this big picture of all these things you need to do, taking those goals and chunking them down into daily obtainable goals is so huge. So you could take that and you could say, okay, we have however many weeks left of the month. We have about 2 weeks left of the month. And you could say, okay, if we have 2 weeks left in the month and I want to go ruby, then you're going to say, I need to sign 2 distributors this week, or I need to sign 1 distributor this week and then 2 next week. I would do 1 this week and 2 next week, because I feel, or I mean, maybe 1 earlier on in this week and then 1 at the end, because I feel like so many times with goals, it's just about getting that win. Once you get that win, your confidence is going to grow. So instead of thinking about all of these things that you need to do, instead just say, before my head hits the pillow tonight, I am getting a distributor on my team. And that is literally all you do. All of your posts are focused on that. All of your messages are focused on that. All of your host to posts are focused on that. If today the goal is to get a distributor, and once you get that win, then you can build upon it. And I feel like when you get the win, your excitement grows, your confidence grows, and your network can feel that. So take the big goal, but then chunk it down into smaller bite-sized chunks, get your win, and that will help you to grow your confidence. And then you just continue to build on that every single day, every single week, every single month. And if you do that over time, like you're going to see success.
So good. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about just the types of things that you're posting. Like, are you doing a ton of reels and TikToks? Like, is that how you've been kind of building following, or are you mainly focused just on like consistent posting? I mean, she has great content. So y'all, if you haven't followed her, like she's amazing. But let's talk a little bit about just the things that you're sharing. Because like you said, I always think like you get what you post for. So if you're like only talking about customers and then you're expecting somebody to join your team, like they don't ever know about the opportunity. So let's talk a little bit about just some of those different things. Because I know I feel like Facebook posts, like the static posts, and Instagram is finally getting a little bit more traction. So that part's been nice. But are you doing like a ton of content on Reels and TikTok? And what kinds of things do you cover?
Yeah, so I definitely, and I agree with you so much. You're going to get whatever you're putting out there. So I always like to start the beginning of my month really focusing on the opportunity, because I always like to start my month with distributors. And then I like to switch focus kind of midway through the month on loyal customers and building for volume and that kind of stuff. So I'm always doing that, but I am definitely more of an attraction marketer type of girl. I'm going to be completely honest. I do not like cold messaging. Like, it is not my thing. It doesn't feel good to me. If you like cold messaging, please do it. Don't take this and think that I'm saying don't do it. But I just really like attraction marketing. And so I believe, like, in this business, you do have to message. Like, don't get me wrong. You have to message people. You have to reach out to people. But the way that I found to do it is I do more of the attraction marketing. So I just try to be really aware of like who's liking my post, who's interacting in my stuff, who's watching my stories every single day through the very end, especially those days that I'm posting like a lot of stuff and it kind of gets long. like those are the people that I'm messaging. And for me, it doesn't feel cold, it feels warm because they're interacting on my stuff. But so making sure that I'm posting about the opportunity. I do a lot of inspirational type things because I feel like a lot of people stick with me because I'm posting more than just it work stuff. It's a lot of inspirational things. It's a lot of things that have helped me in my journey. But then, you know, even like if I'm going live on my story in the morning, I might not be talking about my coffee every single day, but every day when I go live, I'm making my coffee. So people are constantly seeing the products in their face. They're constantly seeing like the logos and like the different things me sharing, like because of this opportunity, we're able to do this. Like when I'm posting a picture of my kids and whatnot. So I'm doing a lot of that, but I definitely am growing my following for sure with my reels. And to be completely honest, it's not like the It Works ones that are taking off like crazy. It's going back to my pillars. Like I do things that interest me, things that I enjoy doing. I love food, so I love sharing recipes. I love fashion. So I do a lot of fashion type reels where I share about like petite fashion finds that I find. I love mom hacks and I love things that are funny. So like I do a lot of the reels and I do a lot of, I've actually been really getting into YouTube shorts lately. I haven't figured out how to like switch that into like really capitalizing with my It Works business, but I'm excited about it because I'm getting a lot of followers really fast on that. But I love short form video content. Like it is my favorite thing ever to get followers. And then I just use my It Works stuff as kind of like the commercials in my story. And so a lot of people will follow me because they're seeing a recipe that I shared or some clothing that I shared. But then as a part of that, they're starting to see, okay, you're talking about this coffee every single day. Like, what is this coffee that you're always making? You talk about you lost 50 pounds. Like, how did you lose the 50 pounds? You talk about like you have all this energy. So those have been really, really huge. And then also before and after pictures. Like, I don't know what happened this year. For the longest time, I got away from sharing before and after pictures because there was just a time that like social media did not show them at all, I feel like. But now every single time I post a before and after picture, I'm getting people in my inbox every single time. So I'm making sure like a couple times a week that I'm posting before and after pictures on my page, but then also a lot of before and after pictures on my story. And I like to share a lot of them from people on my team. So like if I have a, like, for example, like if I post Lisa's before and after picture and I have a picture of me with Lisa, like I'll do her before and after picture and then I'll do a picture of me with her. And I feel like that just really builds my credibility and people like believe like, oh, this is a real before and after, like she knows her, she's with her right there in that picture. So I do a lot of that and a lot of that with the opportunity posts too.
Yes, I love it. So many good reminders. And too, and it also is, you know, if you don't have those before and afters, this gives you all the more reason to go and find those couple products that you can get your own before and afters and start taking those. So one last question, and then I will let you go, but I always love to end with this. You know, looking back over your journey, if you could go back and tell yourself one thing, like one thing different or a piece of advice that you would have given yourself now, if you've looked over your journey, what would you go and tell yourself?
Oh man, I think like the biggest thing, that's a hard one because I'm like in 13 years old, there's so many things. But I think the biggest thing is once you have people that are ready to run and you have momentum in your business, just freaking go. Freaking go and don't stop and don't look back because momentum doesn't last forever. And the things that you do when you're in that season of momentum are going to pay off for years and years and years to come. And so like, I know like for me, you know, I think about when I went diamond and it was so hard and I pushed so hard. And it was like, after I went diamond, I was like, okay, I need a break. Like I need to just take a breather for a minute and step back. And like, no, if you are momentum and you have people on your team ready to go, like just embrace that and run. And you're going to be tired and it's going to be a lot, but it doesn't last forever. Embrace those seasons. And if you're in a season where you don't have momentum right now and it's kind of like a winter season for you, just really focus on growing your mindset and getting yourself ready for that next season of momentum, because we all know that there's seasons in this business, right? It's like after every winter comes spring and after spring comes summer. So it's a constant evolution. Like I feel like I've gone through it so many times. But if you're stuck, you know, just don't one, don't put yourself on an island. Like if you're stuck, reach out to, I always think sideline relationships are so powerful. Like find a good sideline friend and just pick their brain, and don't sit and just like bitch and moan about your business, but say like, what are you doing to grow your business right now? Here's how I'm feeling. Like, have you ever felt like this? How did you get out of this funk or whatever? So find those people and grow yourself, and don't put yourself on an island, but also just like work on your mindset and make sure you're always working on your mindset. Because for me, this last year, 2022 was a hard year for me. I went through a season of a lot of people on our team. Like I've always had a very strong leg, and I have so many amazing leaders in it. I love that like so freaking much. But like I was in this point where I'm like, everything outside of that just kept crumbling. And it made me feel like, do I know what I'm doing? Like, am I a one-hit wonder? Was I just lucky that I got this leg that just took off? But like, I can't build anything else outside of it. And so that really messed with me for a while. And I didn't realize how bad it was getting into my head until we went to Sea La Vie. And I just was sitting there on the beach one day, and I was just kind of reflecting, and I'm like, you know what? No, I can be really successful in this business. Like I know I can. And I just thought about, look at what I did as ignorance on fire. What could I do now with fire and knowledge? And like that got me really, really excited, because I was like, maybe I don't have anybody right now that's like on fire, ready to go. But there are so many people out there that need this opportunity and want this opportunity. And I know that I can coach them how to be successful. I just have to find those people. So that got me excited. And that's how I came into this year. And I built a whole new organization. My 2.0 just re-ranked to diamond. And so like that for me was huge, because I came out of Punta Cana and I was just like, I just need to build my confidence back. So I was like, I literally pulled out a Ruby chart and I was like, I'm going to go Ruby. And that's me as an ambassador diamond with a 2.0 double diamond leg saying, you know what? I don't care about any of that. Like, I'm just going to go Ruby. Like, I'm going to show myself that I can go Ruby. And I went Ruby. And then I taught my Rubies how to go Ruby. And by doing that, it built my excitement and built my confidence, and running with those new girls that are so excited has been so much fun. So I know that got really long, but those are just some tips that I would give somebody that's maybe been in a while.
I love it. Okay. So one last question that just popped through, but what's a good potential follow-up for a distributor, especially if somebody that's genuinely interested, but you followed up with quite a few times?
Honestly, I do a lot of voice messaging with people like this. And I just say something like, hey, I can't stop thinking about you. You would be so amazing at this. I think you're awesome, because I always compliment them. Like I tell them why they're so awesome. I just have to ask you, like, what's holding you back? I'm just curious. And ask them, because they're going to tell you. And I feel like once you have that objection, you can start covering those objections, and you can just be a friend. But also at the end of the day, if somebody just isn't ready, like I don't sit there and just keep messaging them, because if they get started and they're not ready, and then they have cold feet and they ghost me 2 days later, like that doesn't do anything for either of us. And so I just try to be a little bit respectful about where they're at. And I want them to get started once they're ready, once they're excited. And so I'll talk about those objections, but also like if they're just not ready, I don't focus my energy there. Instead, I focus my energy on, I have to find somebody else. I have to find somebody else who's ready now. And I put my energy there. And then I just continue to be a friend to them, because they will come along. They will be ready. It's going to be that perfect moment that they see a post, or you reach out to them and just say, hey, I was just thinking about you today. Hope you're having a great day. And they're like, I just need to get started right now. So that would be my tip on that.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your night. I know my cup was very much filled from all of this. I learned a lot of different things, and I appreciate you so much. Y'all go shout her out on social and all the things, but it was truly amazing. And I just, like I said, I appreciate you taking time out of your night. And yeah, I hope y'all have a great night, and we'll see you next week. Thank you, Krystal.
Thank you guys. Good night.